the globe. This week, in focus. This is Focus Earth with Bob Woodruff.
Hi, I'm Bob Woodruff, and welcome to Focus Earth. Here on the Rio Grande at the U.S.-Mexico border, there's something invisible, silent, and sometimes even deadly entering the country: infectious disease. Viral and insect-borne illnesses are on the move, expanding their range as never before. But it's not just insects and people carrying these health risks across borders like this. Climate change is helping to create the perfect storm for a worldwide health crisis.
There was an outbreak of West Nile virus in New York.
The West Nile virus has spread to yet another state.
The director of the Centers for Disease Control said that West Nile is a, quote, emerging infectious disease epidemic.
It's one of the deadliest outbreaks to hit the United States in decades. 1.5 million Americans infected, more than 1,000 people dead.
This disease spread from the Atlantic coast all the way to the Pacific coast and spread north to Canada and south to Central America and the Caribbean.
West Nile virus, a tropical disease, originally found halfway around the world in Uganda. But when it made its way into the United States, most likely in the blood of an infected traveler, it found a welcome new home.
West Nile disease had an explosive debut in New York City in 1999.
That's because the kind of mosquitoes that carry West Nile are among the most common, and they were out in droves that summer.
We had a heat wave of 3 weeks in July, and then we had heavy rains in August. That speeds up the maturation of the virus in the mosquitoes.
Those tracking the movement of infectious diseases say the West Nile outbreak is the clearest example of the link between weather and epidemics.
We're seeing more and more of an influence of climate change on the spread and outbreaks of infectious disease.
Now there's tens of thousands of cases, and that has been linked to increasing temperatures, humidity, and rainfall.
Those conditions are turning more places into breeding grounds for disease, making them more hospitable to the pests that carry viruses, also known as vectors.
There's more winter warming as we go towards the poles. So for Lyme disease, the main vector-borne disease in the U.S., we project shifts through New England, up through Maine, into Canada.
Cryptococcus gattii. This is a fungal disease, usually in tropical, subtropical countries, that all of a sudden we're seeing up in the Northeast, up near Vancouver.
Ticks that can carry tick-borne encephalitis have already shown a northward change in their range.
And the carrier of some of the world's deadliest diseases, from malaria to yellow fever, is also widening its hunting grounds with the help of warmer, wetter weather.
They're going to live longer and longer, and their biting season is going to last longer and longer.
It's not just warmer weather that can affect the spread of diseases.
Federal health officials today released the latest on the spread of the H1N1 swine flu.
Ever since the H1N1 pandemic started this spring, health officials have been preparing for a surge in cases during this year's flu season. The colder months from late October through early March, when influenza viruses thrive. But this year, cooler temperatures started in September, giving the season a jump start.
With this new H1 pandemic, we're seeing it earlier in the season than we've ever seen it.
And that means more time for more people to become infected.
The number of infections could grow by tenfold every couple of weeks.
Epidemiologists are concerned that, like H1N1 and West Nile, new and powerful viruses will continue to creep into the U.S., and that the right climate conditions will help them spread faster than we can control them.
There's a number of diseases that we're monitoring for potential introduction in the United States. Chikungunya causes a severe illness, usually associated with arthritis. Rift Valley fever is another mosquito-borne disease, and unfortunately also causes a severe disease in humans with bad hemorrhage and eye problems and brain inflammation.
I think the chances are quite good that some of those areas in which infectious diseases appear for the first time will be densely populated areas, cities.
The prospect of dangerous new diseases on our doorstep is a frightening one. And so is the thought that climate change could one day drive us to a global health crisis.
I think that the elements of climate change that people fear are more attention, obviously.
When we come back, a controversial new take on the future of infectious diseases.
I think that the general public may be getting a slightly skewed view of what the science is telling us.